G'day all and welcome back to Freo Faithful. In just under 24 hours, the game that maybe not defines our season, but our entire season certainly rides on. It commences at Marvel Stadium, Sunday afternoon football against the Western Bulldogs. Whoever wins plays finals footy, basically. I'm not really expecting Gold Coast to lose to Essendon. We still could lose, and under the slight chance that the Bombers do get the job done on Wednesday night, we will play finals, but let's just win and stop ourselves from stressing about something that just simply won't happen. Let's look at the teams first and foremost. Each team, just with the one change, the Western Bulldogs have omitted Riley Sanders. Now, I don't watch the Bulldogs, as intently as Bulldogs fans would, obviously, but that's quite surprising to me. I quite rate Riley Sanders. And Arthur Jones comes into the team, WA boy. Nathan O'Driscoll's been omitted for the Dockers, and the Peel game finished not long ago. He had 25 touches and 3 goals. So the omission of Noddy was absolutely correct. He's had a really poor last few weeks, but that's a really good way to respond to an axing at waffle level, and he'll keep himself in the mix if we do qualify for finals. And Hayden Young has also come into the team. Now, the Western Bulldogs are the big talk selection all week for both teams. First and foremost, for us, Hayden Young was the talking point. A few of us were calling for a Cooper Simpson or a Brandon Walker. Oscar McDonald was included in the extended bench after a really good game at Peel, and we sort of thought maybe Amos is out of the team. Maybe we'll play an extra tall back to play a sort of team defense on Darcy and Norton. But no, just the one change. And on the Western Bulldogs side of things, Adam Treloar has not been picked. 40 touches in the VFL last week, but they haven't picked him for AFL. Whether that's a case of the senior team performing very well at this point in time, or whether it's, he's just not up to playing a full game and they don't want to play him as sub, I'm not sure. But a lot of Bulldogs fans weren't too happy with their team selection. So I'm not sure how much to read into that. I want to quickly talk about the sub as well. Now, my instinct is that Neil Erasmus will be the sub. And I think both Nat Fyfe and Hayden Young will play from the start. And I think one of them will get subbed around 3/4 in, just depending on who's holding up better. Ideally, in an ideal world, it's Nat Fyfe getting subbed because we want Hayden Young out there for the full 4/4. JL said on ABC Breakfast today that Hayden Young isn't going to play incredible loads of game time, but he can still probably play 80% or so. So that's good news. I think from what I've heard over the past few weeks with Hayden Young that he probably could have played last week against Brisbane, but they've just held him back a little bit more. It was an unrelated injury he had against Carlton, so no sort of worries about re-injuring the abductor or whatever he had early in the season. I think it was the hamstring. But it does sound like the Hayden Young's ready to play full game at full intensity. And whenever I watch him train, he looks so good. Even when he's injured, he's just going in, full intensity at the contest. So he's a very hard man to get a gauge of, I'd imagine, at training. The keys to win, I mean, there hasn't been a game this season really where we've needed the keys to win more than right now, because my God, do we need to win. First and foremost, the key matchups are incredibly interesting. Now, we've already beaten the Dogs this year with Sam Darcy kicking 5, but Sam Darcy and Aaron Norton are now both firing at the same time. Aaron Norton only kicked 1 against us early this year. A few people were calling for him to be dropped. He wasn't having the greatest time at the Bulldogs. We absolutely have to be wary of these two. Now, despite Brennan Cox usually taking the Oppo's best forward, the significant height of Darcy is probably going to force Alex Pearce to play on him, who's 201 centimetres, which would mean Cox takes Norton. I'm not opposed to it, and I think Alex Pearce can go with Sam Darcy. Sam Darcy's likely going to kick 2 or 3. There's not a key back in the league that can stop him. So I think Alex Pearce can affect the game in other ways and have a good game, despite Darcy kicking a couple on him, as long as he can limit his impact when he's in the forward line. And as long as... I think another part of stopping Sam Darcy is how Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson sort of run with him in the ruck and don't allow him to bomb forward. Because, you look at Tim English, he bombs forward and creates a third tall or even a fourth tall when they've got Jordan Croft down there. You've got English who bombs forward when he's in the ruck. You've got Sam Darcy who bombs forward when he's in the ruck. So we've got to be very, very careful. And I think Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson have a massive job to sort of be defensive ruckman nearly, because that's one of their main threats. They're ruckman bombing forward. And yeah, we've got to be very, very wary of that. So whoever's on Darcy, whether it's Pearce, Sean Darcy or Luke Jackson, we've just got to be very, very switched on and wary. Another one is stick to our guns. Now, particularly from, like, David King has been a funny talking point in this fan base for a long time. And I'm actually a fan of a lot of the takes he has. And I think, a lot of the time it's just taking the piss with Freo. And I actually think he does want us to do well. Now, I completely disagree with what he said this week about us going fast. He wants us to play fast football. And a lot of the journalists in the media sort of want us to play fast, daring football. Now, I know where they're coming from. It's more exciting to watch. And we've won some games this year doing that. But the other side of the coin is that we've just won 11 games in 13, playing not necessarily a slow brand, but certainly a straight line and methodical brand, a little bit similar to Collingwood with a few tweaks. So I think if we completely switch how we play and try and outplay the Dogs at their own game and that fast run and gun style, we'll get smashed with their run and gun because they've done it all year. They're the best team all year at playing like that. They're the best scorers in the league. So defensively, I think we have to be really solid, and I think we've got to play a little bit similar to like how we did against Collingwood, but probably with a little bit more flair because, I don't rate the Bulldogs as highly as I did Collingwood at the time. So that straight line and methodical approach, I think we have to continue with that to stop the Bulldogs run and gun and stay compact behind the ball. But I think a mix of taking on the corridor at our own peril should work well. And the way we've played has worked 11 of the past 13 weeks against multiple quality oppositions. It will shut down the running gun Bulldogs, and I think it's a no-brainer. I think Justin Longmuir will stick to his guns. He's a pretty stubborn coach, and that's what I quite like about JL and the way he set us up this year. The last point I want to make is forward pressure, and we need to pounce on turnover. The Bulldogs' defence, when you look at the names, is pretty underwhelming in terms of the skill level. Like, some of them are good players, but in terms of the unit and in terms of their skill level out of the back line, Bramble, O'Donnell, Dale, Cleary, Lobb, Johannesson, Buslinger, there aren't too many incredible kicks back there. Now, I'm aware you could say the same thing for us, probably only Jordan Clark back there, but that's an area where teams have gotten us in the past, forward pressure and sort of shutting down, open kicks from halfback. I think that's the exact same thing we have to do with the Bulldogs here because they don't have many elite ball users back there. We need every single bloke in our forward line, led by Sam Switkowski, who, let's face it, has just come off his worst game of the year, to apply manic pressure. And I sort of look back to that Adelaide game in round 6, around then, when we were incredible with our pressure in the first quarter. I think it still might be the highest pressure rating of any team in a quarter this season. We were manic, and that was the method to winning against a really good Crows outfit, and I think the same applies. So yeah, forward pressure, pounce on turnover, and make sure we stay compact defensively, because I think when we get it inside our forward 50, and if we can at least even the clearances, I think we can pounce on a really, really weak backline. And I think Tracy, Voss, and Amos can stretch the O'Donnells, the Lobs, and the Buslingers. So I think there's a massive vulnerability there for the Bulldogs that, people have talked about all year. Like, they've won one game against top 9 teams. Sorry, they've won 2 games against top 9 teams this year, both against the Giants. So they've been in one team in the top 9. They're so vulnerable, and good teams know how to figure them out. And I trust that we're a good team that can figure them out. And you even look back to earlier this year, I think we were up by about 50 points at a stage against the Bulldogs at Optus. We ended up only winning by 20, but we know how to get on and run against them. So yeah, I think there's massive vulnerability there. Everyone's writing us off, but as the name suggests, we're faithful, and I'm going to tip the Dockers by 15. I think we get the job done. I think there are vulnerabilities there, and this season, we typically don't follow up bad losses with even worse performances or another bad performance. So I'm backing us to get the job done, and I'm backing us to play finals footy in 2025. It's going to be incredibly nerve-wracking. Join me for the watch party tomorrow on Freo Faithful. It's been a lot of fun. Towards the end of the past couple, there have been close games. We've had around 80, 90 people in, so that's been a lot of fun. But come join us. It's a lot of fun with the Freo Faithful community, watching the game and dissecting it throughout. The fan cams will be from around 4:40 WA time tomorrow, so make sure you tune in for that. And let's hope that on Monday we're previewing our first finals clash, or at least talking about finals and not talking about what went wrong in season 2025. Whatever happens, I just hope the boys put out their best performance, leave it all out there, and first and foremost, I hope we get the 4 points, because that's what we need to hopefully go far this year. Up the Dockers. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow for the watch party. If not, I'll see you very, very soon. And let's hope we get the dub.